Welcome back to the channel, guys. CTB, Cam Talks Boxing. So let's get straight into it. You saw in the thumbnail, I'll be talking about the Spence Crawford fight that could be announced soon. Fingers crossed. But yeah, perfect timing, or is it too late? It's interesting because a lot of people are complaining. Of course, they're not complaining about it potentially happening now, but a lot of people I've seen, a lot of fans feel like it should have happened a while ago and they could have probably had a trilogy by now. I actually disagree. I think it's the perfect timing if it does get confirmed for November. I think it's the perfect timing because I feel like they're both at the right stage now. They're both quite proven, because a couple of years back there's that kind of argument that Terence is coming up in weight and that's a disadvantage, and obviously I know he won the strap, the WBO title off Jeff Horn in 2018, which obviously proved, yeah, we can make the fight now because Spence said get a belt and then we can make the fight. But I still think he wasn't as proven at welterweight. I know he still hasn't fought a lot of the top guys, which hasn't been his fault, but with Crawford, I think that Sean Porter win last year, the back end of last year, has really shown that he's no joke. And I think now it's always probably been a 50-50 fight, but now I just think it's great timing because number one, Crawford's a bit more proven at welterweight, and then the second reason I'd say, because it's for undisputed. I think Spence always wanted to do that, because you think about it, before he had, so in 2019 he had the WBC, he unified against Sean Porter, he had the WBC and the IBF titles, right? He then was going to fight Pacquiao for the WBA World Championship title, welterweight title, and then he would have had the 3 straps, but then, obviously, before the Pacquiao fight, so after the Sean Porter fight, he had the accident. So that's another so he had an accident, so he took about a year to recover, and obviously that year the Crawford fight and the Spence Crawford fight could have happened, so you got to take that into account. And then obviously he was going to get the WBA title, or hopefully beat Pacquiao, and then that got cancelled because he had an eye retina injury. So I feel like it's a bit unfortunate. You've got to take that into, fans need to take that into account as well. Spence had some two injuries, and if he didn't have those injuries, the fight probably could have happened a bit earlier. But if you really think about it and break it down, when could the fight have happened? Probably 2018. Yeah, he didn't have to fight Spence. Spence did not have to fight Sean Porter to unify. He could have fought Crawford. He could have just fought Crawford. Yeah, when Crawford won the WBO title, because that still would have been a unification. It would have been the IBF and the WBA welterweight titles on the line, so it could have happened then. But then, yeah, I think other than that, it could have happened when Spence wouldn't fight Crawford off that long layoff. He fought Danny Garcia, which a lot of people were impressed with. I think you have to take that into account. After a long layoff from the car crash, he then fought Danny Garcia in his return fight, and that's what I love about Errol Spence. He doesn't take any warm-ups. So yeah, so in terms of the timing, I think it's great timing now, because okay, Crawford's pushing on a bit. He's 34, 35, but he's still in his prime, I'd say. He's fresh. He hasn't been hurt much, and yeah, he's looking strong. He's pound for pound arguably the best fighter in the world, top 3, I'd say. So yeah, for undisputed, I think it's perfect timing if it gets confirmed for November. So what's going on right now? So I'm hearing, obviously, I'm from the UK, so I follow Michael Benson on Twitter quite a bit. I know about 7 to 10 days ago he put out that it was reportedly close to getting finalised. Since then it's gone a bit quiet. And what I've heard recently is, and I really want to go into this, I watched Bob Arum talk about the fight on Fight Hype, and he said he doesn't think it will happen. And I find his reasonings quite educating and he makes some really valid points. And yeah, let me go into this now. So what Bob Arum said was, it's getting delayed because look, if both fighters realize how big of a fight this is, and of course they want to get paid what they're worth. They want huge paydays. They know what's on the line. They know it's an in-demand fight, and it's probably the biggest fight. It's definitely the biggest fight of their careers. It's one of the biggest fights in boxing, if not the biggest fight in boxing right now. So what's delaying that, and what's the main issue, is the piracy issue in the States. That's what Bob Arum has said. What he said is a lot of people do illegal streaming, And why is that? That's because the pay-per-view price points in the US are so high. I'm obviously from the UK, so it's a bit different here. But in the US, they're like $70, $80. I believe obviously it ranges from $50 to $80. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, those of you from overseas. And in my opinion, even as a boxing fan, if I was from the US, it's just quite expensive, because I don't always watch boxing fights with a group of friends. I just watch them on my own at times. So it's not like you can always just split it between you guys, between your friends. And obviously in the past, Bob Arum spoke about that. He said when Eddie Hearns obviously said there's no pay-per-views, there's no future for pay-per-views, Bob Arum's responded he doesn't know the US market. The US market is different, because in the US, when they purchase pay-per-views, they purchase it as a group, so it works out about $10, $20 each, not even that, between like 5 or 6. But then now obviously Arum's saying it is an issue, because the price point of the pay-per-views are too high in the US, hence there's a lot of piracy issues. And how does this link to the fight? This will affect the pay. This is taking money out the fighters' pockets. So apparently that's the issue right now, and it was nice and interesting to see Bob Arum link to the UK and how we deal with it here. 15, obviously it's a bit of inflation, it's gotten up a bit here, but £20 to £25 is still a lot more affordable than the US. And even with that £20 to £25, I'll be honest, if it's a big fight, sometimes I just think like, I'll pay for it it's a good quality fight. A lot of people stream fights, but I just think if it's a good fight, it's affordable. You know, for the value you're getting, you get a lot of stacked cards, especially on DAZN. Sky Sports are doing well as well with Ben Shalom. So yeah, so I think back to the Spence Crawford fight, I think that's what's holding it up, is the details. But look, I hope it gets confirmed. I think it's a great timing for the fight, for Undisputed, and you best believe they won't just have one fight. There'll be a rematch clause for sure. And I think they should just probably have a trilogy now. It depends. Like, I don't think it will be like a convincing win for any of them. I think it will be 50-50 fights. I think it could honestly be like Sugar Ray Leonard and Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard and Duran. It could be like the classic fights, and it could be like Ali Fraser. So honestly, I just think hopefully it gets confirmed for November. But yeah, it's just such an exciting fight. I understand why fans are frustrated, because they want to see the best fight, the best, and obviously it's been quite a while now. If you go back to that video of Spence and Crawford actually going at it in person at that backstage of one of the fights, that was hilarious. It all started from then. But yeah, it's just even who I'm leaning towards is such a hard choice to make. I love Spence. He's one of my favourite fighters. But then at the same time, I've been watching Crawford highlights, and he's spiteful when he gets that opportunity. Like, he's so tidy. He can switch stances. He's such a great counter puncher. But then at the same time, I just think, has he got that little bit more in his toolbox than Errol Spence? It's such a tough fight. I'm not going to make a prediction. Let's see if it gets confirmed, and 100%. If it gets confirmed, when it gets confirmed, I'll do a video. I'll be doing a lot of videos on this fight, and yeah, you'll hear my prediction then. But let's stay up to date, guys. Let's see what happens, and hopefully it gets confirmed soon. But yeah, next video out this Friday. Yeah, see you in a bit, guys.
Foreign bad bitch, I can't even pronounce her name. Talking numbers on the phone while I'm getting brains. Switch 4 lanes, I'm in my own lane. You can catch me riding in that foreign thing.